Hello there, everyone. It's been a while, and I apologize for that. I had an opportunity to travel for the first time since the pandemic hit, and I'm definitely starting to remember what jet lag is. It's tiredness personified. But I am back here with another video, and I wanted to kind of acknowledge that on the surface, this may not seem like it might be that useful for a lot of you. I know I've had one person reach out to me about my yoga sections, but I'm guessing that the crossover between most of the viewers of this station and those who do yoga is pretty slim. But that said, I think some of the systems I have in place for my yoga section might be useful. So I figured, heck, I'll make a video, and if anyone learns a thing or two, that's going to be a win. And what I really do in this area is combine a whole bunch of things from prior videos. So you can kind of see how some of these different things I've reviewed in the past work together to create a more cohesive, functional section like this. So I'm actually going to start out here. We're looking at my workout home. Now, of course, this is a home within a home. So you can see here on the main screen, it shows each section as a little playlist type button. So if I click on the Yoga Teacher playlist, it pulls up this. If I go over here to my cool down mix, and I'll explain these in a second, but pulls that up. So each one of those is just a quick little section to help me access things quickly. So I've shown in a prior video how you can use tags in the description of a playlist to group them, and that's what I've done with these yoga teacher playlists. So these are playlists that I've made that correspond to a specific practice that I've built, and I've got them in alphabetical order in here, so it's super easy to track down which one I want to pull up to match up with the practice that I made. Similar to that, I do have a section that is made up of pre-made mixes, and these are the same thing, it's just displayed differently. But if we take a quick look at the smart rules, you can see that I used a title here to be able to pull these in, but for this yoga teacher playlist one, on this one I actually use the description, having the yoga teacher. So again, it's something that I went over before, but this is kind of how I've put that into practice, and works pretty well there. Alrighty, there's one other place where I keep some playlists. So I actually have a section up here at the top right called Master Playlists. And this is where I keep both playlists that I use to find new songs for different parts of a yoga practice, as well as where I put songs after I find them. So there's a few Apple Music yoga playlists in here, such as High Vibes Yoga, Beats and Breath. And then I actually have a playlist with music that matches kind of each level of intensity for a yoga flow. They're not in any order on here. I have it sorted by date modified. I don't know why, but I have numbers that are associated with that. So one are like the, just kind of waking up songs. Two, you're starting to build a little bit of heat. Three is kind of the most intense part of the practice. And then generally in yoga, there's a cool down section, which is number 4 on here. And then Shavasana is just, laying there listening to meditative type music. So one thing that's pretty cool is I actually keep all my practice playlists in a folder on regular Apple Music on your computer. Or actually, I should say, in the app as well. And why that's cool is that if you click on a folder on your computer, so on my computer, I've got all of these are in one folder. And if you click on the folder that encompasses a large quantity of playlists like this, it'll show all the songs that are in all of those playlists. And the way that I use that is by selecting all those songs, and then I actually add them to a playlist that I've titled Used Yoga Songs. So I actually just updated this today, but this includes every single song that I have put into one of my own kind of handmade practices. And then this might sound familiar to those of you who have seen my earlier videos, but what I can do is when I'm building a new playlist for yoga, I can go into one of these section playlists, let's say Yoga High, and I actually have it filtered to not include the songs from that playlist. So essentially what I've done is I've got this playlist is probably, let's disable that rule for a second and see what this would be if I didn't have that in there. This playlist has 210 songs in it. So I've been able to quickly just make sure that when I'm building a new playlist, I can get rid of any songs that I've used before. So I think that's something that can definitely apply to more situations outside of what I've done here. But by using the fact that on the computer you can group playlists in a folder, click on the folder title, and see every song that's in all the playlists, drag it into its own playlist, which for me is the used yoga songs, and then I can filter those out to be able to just at a glance see, okay, what new songs do I have to work with here? All right, let's scoot up to something a little more interesting. So I do have, as you can see, dozens of playlists that I have created myself. Sometimes, though, I either A, want to just have some brand new music that I'm not familiar with come in, or sometimes I use a yoga app that's called Down Dog that basically auto-generates a practice for me, including the music and everything. I found the music to be fairly decent on there, but obviously I prefer to use my own music as much as possible. Plus, I'm addicted to those last FM scrobbles, so the more of my own music I can play, the better. But basically, kind of going back to what I was talking about with the playlists, there is generally a progression of intensity in yoga, and I've separated out those sections into different playlists that we saw before. And I used to have the music app up, and then just as the flow changed intensity, I'd navigate over to the next playlist and click shuffle on that one. And I've been able to improve on that method quite a bit by using Marvis. So what I've done is essentially create super mini song mixes that are limited by duration. Now, in the beginning, I just had random songs from each of my playlists, but now I actually have kind of a combination of music from Apple Music playlists that are appropriate, mixed in with ones that I have identified as being really good for this section. So there's a lot of times where I'll be, doing a workout and I'll still be discovering new music, specifically around music that fits into kind of these categories here. But digging in, so you can see I've got the first songs, and there's 3 songs that show up on there. I've got the warm up, which has 4 songs on that, and then high flow is generally the longest period of time for me, and that's got 6 in there. So these aren't limited by the number of songs as I've shown in previous videos. So to take a look at what I've got here, we'll actually go into this high flow section right here. Click edit, and then what I've done that's different in the past is I've actually limited it by duration on the bottom. So generally the higher flow section is going to be about 20 minutes or so. And what I've done is mix a number of different song groups together. So I've got 2 Apple Music playlists and then my own music right there. Mix it all together, shuffle it, and then limit it by time instead of number of songs, as number of songs can get a little, some songs might be super long or super short, but this way I know it's not going to be more than 20 minutes. It's not perfect because sometimes it ends up being a little shorter than what I'd hoped for, but in general, it's been really good to be able to kind of build a kind of an ebb and flow of a practice. Now, the way that it gets used wouldn't be possible without Marvis either. It's super easy. So what I do is I essentially start out by clicking on the first song that I want to start with. So I would just click up here on first songs or hold down first songs and click play. I'm not going to do that because there'll be copyrighted music in there. Once I get that going, then I can just hold on to the next section and do the button for play last. So when I play this first section, it's going to load up these 3 songs in queue. Then I can go to warm up and click play last. Those songs will be the next 4 songs after those first 3 songs. High flow comes next. Same deal. Click on that. It'll add it to the end. Cool down, and then finally Shavasana at the end. So then generally I have a queue of about 45-ish minutes of music, and that'll match that rising and falling intensity there. And so when I was putting together my thoughts for this video, I was trying to think of how this might be useful outside of yoga. And I'm thinking this could be good for creating kind of like a party or get-together mix. Now, obviously, you'd want to use longer duration limits than I've used. But, if you wanted to start out doing something that's, a little more kind of chill music to start, and then after an hour or two, have it kind of rise in intensity for an hour or two, and then start winding down, when you want to start kicking people out. You can just have it kind of naturally cue you over time as to kind of where you're at from a time standpoint in the party. May also work for, playing video games or something else that you want to kind of cue yourself. Okay, I've been doing this for X number of minutes. It's time to start wrapping this up. If there's anything else that you use that's similar to that, definitely let me know in the comments. But that's really going to wrap it up today. I know this video was a little bit of a niche there, so I appreciate you taking the time to watch, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day.